もういいでしょうね。
ではお下がりください。Would you like to start now?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. My name is Khaldun Azhari. I'm the president of this club, and I have the great honor to moderate this event today. And our guest speaker today is very well-known Ms. Yoriko Koike, the governor of Tokyo, who has been here in the club before a few times, and she's returned speaker, and we thank you very much for that. At the very right of the table is Mr. Greg Clark. He's the second vice president, and to his left is Grace. She's our interpreter for today, although we will have some English speaking and sometimes Japanese. There's no need to introduce our speaker. She's very well known. She made record in Japan. I remember 2 records. The first one is she's the first female to become foreign minister or defense minister. She was about to and she also was candidate to be prime minister. And this might be the 3rd record. The 2nd record is she's the first female to become governor of Tokyo. And I remember I covered her activities when she was environment minister, and she made very good initiative to link Japan with the Middle East. And in this regard, we all know that Koike-san, she speaks Arabic. And I wish I could moderate the event today in Arabic, but our rules in the club is to use English as our official language. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have the press conference today for 1 hour, and there will be first 30 minutes presentation, and that will be followed by your questions. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker, Governor Yoriko Koike.
Thank you, Mr. Azahari, for a nice introduction. And thank you all for taking time to attend today. And it is about a year ago. More precisely, this is 337th day since I was invited last time. I calculated. And it is about a year ago when I had the opportunity to address you here. And I'm so grateful to be back here. Let me sit down. Now, last time I spoke about my responsibilities towards the 13 million citizens of Tokyo in my role as governor. I also outlined my obligations regarding the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games events that will focus the world's attention on Japan. About 1 year has passed since I was given the great responsibility of governing this wonderful city. That tremendous sense of responsibility has continued to grow, and I am truly honored to bear it. Let me manage it first. Now, I spent my inaugural year planning the seeds of change. This coming year, I believe we will see those seeds sprout and begin to grow. Over the past year, I have worked to enact a grand reform of Tokyo by putting Tokyo citizens first and increasing information disclosure and government transparency, as well as through the concept of wise spending, all in my quest to realize my vision of a new Tokyo. This new Tokyo will be a city that provides peace of mind, hope, and active lives for all. A sustainable city that continues to grow, and an engine that drives the growth of Japan. This is my new Tokyo. Looking at the world, we see a climate of instability, unfortunately, from Brexit and the U.S. leaving the TPP and Paris Agreement to the rise of terror and North Korea's missile tests. And in these uncertain times, I hope to make Tokyo a model, developed society, and put our city at the forefront of Japan's sustainable growth. Earlier this year, I was delighted that Monoku magazine selected Tokyo as the world's most livable city for the third consecutive year. It is very encouraging for Tokyo to receive this recognition, and we hope it serves to attract even more individuals and international companies to our city, Tokyo. It was also an honor for Tokyo to be elected Condé Nast Traveler's Reader's Choice Awards, a best non-American city in the world for the first time ever. We recently created a new logo and slogan, Tokyo, Tokyo, all meets new. You can find some items here. Please have a look of this movie. Thank you very much. So you can find a badge with magnet, memo for your interview, and for your article, pens, and many other things. And also you can find the new magazine, English magazine, in English, and I think this is well edited. And also this is a brochure for Tokyo 2020, and many others. Now you have a ticket for the Olympic game. Too early. So this new logo and slogan present the name of our city in tradition, brushstrokes, and a modern font, conveying how Edo-era traditions thrive alongside our culture of innovation. I'm not sure if you have noticed, but between the two words in a traditional stamp, traditional stamp depicting our famous Shibuya crossing. We would love for visitors from around the world to come to this wonderful city for both pleasure and business. Now, my administration will build on our city's strength to create a new Tokyo that is 3 cities in one, a safe city where people feel more secure, more at ease, and can live more vibrant lives. A diversity or diverse city where everyone can lead fulfilling lives and actively participate in society. Third, a smart city that is open to the world and is a leader in the fields of the environment, international finance, and business. In December of last year, we formulated the action plan for 2020. And today, I would like to share with you the progress we have made and our plans for the future. First, we are implementing Safe City initiatives that include creating a Tokyo that is resilient to earthquakes and other natural disasters. As you know, Tokyo is home to a mass of utility poles and overhead wiring. In June this year, the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly passed a bill that will make us the first prefecture in Japan to begin efforts to eliminate utility poles. I think last time when I was invited to this club, I had mentioned about this issue, and after some months, now the regulation was formulated at the Metropolitan Assembly. What a progress. Did you think so? These poles could potentially fall and block roads during earthquakes. Removing them would not only make the city more beautiful, but importantly, it would also increase its disaster preparations. It is also vital to have leadership that considers the perspective of women in the event of disasters. We must provide designated areas for women to change clothes and breastfeed infants. We would like to develop female disaster leaders in Tokyo. We also plan to produce a new disaster preparedness brochure that reflects the needs and perspectives of women in order to further establish our safe city. Next is a diversity. Our diversity will be one in which everyone, men, women, children, seniors, people with disabilities, members of the international community, and the LGBT community can realize their potential and lead more fulfilled lives. We must also overcome the challenges of our aging population and low birth rate by creating an environment in which people can continue to work while caring for young and elderly family members. For example, last October, we opened a nursery school at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. It was designated to serve as inspiration for establishing daycare centers in workplaces across Japan. The era in which international competitiveness was achieved solely through male-centered, long working hours is over. Both men and women need to work smarter and increase productivity. They should place a greater value on the time spent with family and on personal development. I take the idea of work-life balance a step further, placing priority on life and coming the phrase life-work balance rather than work-life balance. I believe that work-style reform is the key to achieving this balance. That is why my administration is working to promote the adoption of teleworking. Accordingly, we launched the Tokyo Telework Center last month to help businesses understand the benefits of implementing remote work practices and dispatch consultants to interested companies. I think there's no need to dispatch any consultants to this club because many of you are working by using teleworking, right? Long working hours and packed commuter trains have been associated with Tokyo since the country's rapid economic growth decades ago. In order to address these issues, I'm introducing Jisa-Biz, a movement to stagger work schedules and reduce congestion during rush hour this year. For 2 weeks from July 11th, I campaigned for businesses and railway operators to adopt telework practices and flex time and incentivize off-peak travel. Initiatives such as Jisa-Biz are not new to me. When I was Minister of the Environment, I proposed and led what became the Cool Biz campaign, which has been adopted all over Japan. Cool Biz has reduced energy consumption by making it the norm for workers to shed their jackets and ties during summer. I will work to ensure that our new Jisa-Biz initiative takes off in the same way. Finally, we will further promote Tokyo as a smart city. We will pursue green initiatives and sustainable economic growth by harnessing leading-edge technologies. Now, allow me to explain our efforts in promoting an LED movement, which we introduced last month. I asked famous Picotaro. I think all of you know about him. He helped. 動画いきますか? I asked Picotaro help in creating a video to promote energy-saving LED light bulbs. As part of this campaign, people can go to participating appliance stores to exchange 2 or more regular bulbs for 1 LED bulb. Replacing 1,060,000 watts bulbs with LED models will reduce carbon footprint by 44,000 metric tons every year. We can achieve quite a lot when everyone pitches in just a little bit. I also believe that promoting CO2 neutral hydrogen as an energy source can become an essential part of international efforts to combat global warming and of our growth strategy going forward. For instance, Tokyo has recently added hydrogen fuel buses to its city fleet, and in March of this year became the first city in Japan to begin operating commercially available hydrogen-fueled buses on regular routes. My administration aims to have 100 of these buses in operation by 2020 when the game starts. And I'm committed to making progress in environment, social, and governance, or ESG standards. We plan to issue 20 billion yen in Tokyo green bonds this year to fund efforts to resolve Tokyo's environmental challenges. We also plan to establish what we are calling the Tokyo Financial Awards to recognize businesses that provide products and services that foster ESG investments. Both domestic and overseas enterprises are eligible for this program. It is through such initiatives that we intend to resolve a number of social issues. Progress in finance, the IoT, Internet of Things, AI, and fintech should be central to our economic growth as Japan's population declines. Our goal is to create a more vibrant living and working environment to attract even more businesses and talent from overseas. We are aiming to create a Tokyo where business is easy to do and where people can live comfortably. In order to create an environment in which international companies can more smoothly build their businesses in Tokyo, we have set up the Tokyo One-Stop Business Establishment Center in Akasaka to help startup companies and international businesses achieve their goals in Japan. Branches in Shibuya and Marunouchi have also been opened in recent months. Additionally, through special economic zones in Tokyo, we are promoting programs to accept international housekeeping personnel to be employed by global business persons. Within Tokyo's special zones, we are also working to attract international schools with high-level programs, as well as provide healthcare services to patients from around the world, utilizing a special provision for doctors from overseas to practice. Furthermore, we will continue to develop urban infrastructure. On July 21st, together with the national government and the Metropolitan Expressway Company, we announced that we will make efforts to move the highway above the famous Nihonbashi Bridge underground. While I drive to make Tokyo's governance more visible to the people, I believe much of the city's infrastructure should be invisible, like the electric cables I spoke on a moment ago. The same goes for the highway above Nihonbashi. I'm convinced that this move will help to turn Tokyo into a city befitting a truly international financial hub. So, why not Tokyo? In fact, this March we placed an ad asking just that question in the New York Times, inviting people from across the world to this exciting city. The ad depicts our famous Shibuya crossing calling businesses and individuals to our great metropolis. Maybe our next ad on your paper, I will think about it. Now, 3 years from now, the Tokyo 2020 Games will be in full swing. In June, we launched the Hot City Tokyo project to bring together all bureaus of the TMG for the Tokyo 2020 Games. This is to create momentum for Tokyo 2020, showcasing Tokyo's charm, reconstruction and disaster prevention, the environment, and advancing technology. One reason the London Olympics are said to have been such a success is that tourism continued to increase even after the Games ended. Therefore, it is important that we sustain efforts to attract tourists and investment in Tokyo following the 2020 Games to increase its value as a city. Legacies of the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, including the Metropolitan Expressway, the bullet trains that went into service at the time, and the subsequent growth of Tokyo and Japan's economy. I hope that second Olympic and Paralympic Games to be hosted in Tokyo will leave their own kind of legacy, ushering in a culture of kindness and consideration throughout the city. What sort of society might such a culture create? To find out myself, I recently used a wheelchair on a sidewalk that is not barrier-free. I was frightened by the slightest slope, and I was unable to negotiate even small steps. That is why I want to eliminate the uneven paving of Tokyo's streets and make them accessible and welcoming to match the hospitality provided by the people of this great city. So my belief is that putting more weight to the successful Paralympic game is much more important than the usual Olympic Games success. I also intend to make Tokyo smoke-free by 2020, preventing passing smoking indoors at work and in public spaces in hopes of promoting the health of our people. Finally, one of the initiatives we are currently pursuing with the Tokyo 2020 Organizing Committee is the Tokyo 2020 Medal Project. This is a program to collect outdated or broken cell phones or small digital cameras and other small electronic devices to be recycled into the medal that will be awarded to athletes at the Tokyo 2020 Games. With this, our aim is to produce over 5,000 medals through what we call an urban mine. Now, looking forward toward the 2020 Games. In my second year as governor, I will accelerate reform to make Tokyo an even more vibrant metropolis with even greater assets. In an increasing uncertain world, I hope to enact reforms here in Tokyo that will have ripple effect throughout Japan and will benefit the world. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Governor Koike, for your presentation, and thank you for your promise to advertise in our magazine, number one. I would like to open the floor to your questions, and I would like to indicate in the beginning that we accept only a question, one question per journalist, and we start with our working journalist. Please raise your hand and proceed to the front mic. Anthony first, yes.
Anthony Rowley, Singapore Business Times. Madam Governor, I know you are placing very high priority on boosting Tokyo's role as a global financial center. And you've held a number of meetings, I know, with representatives of the financial community. On the basis of those meetings, what do you think now is the principal, the main barrier to Tokyo becoming an international financial center, and how high on that list is the English language ability or non-English language ability in Tokyo?
Let me answer your question in Japanese. Please allow me to do so. 日本におけるこの国際金融都市の再活性化の問題点は何かというご質問でございました。いくつかあるかと思います。まずは日本語という言語のバリアがあるということ。それから2つ目、こちらが大きいかと思いますけれども、法人税が高いということ。それから相続税に対しても、改正が行われましたけれども、まだ十分でないという声が大きいということ。それからあと生活環境については、インターナショナルスクールを虎ノ門などとか虎ノ門や八重洲などで今準備をしているところであります。そしてまた聖路加セントポールホスピタルなどを通じて、多言語による診療を受けられるというこのような準備をしています。でその中で日本語ばかりではないかというご指摘がしばしばありますけれども、これについてはまずサイネージなどは多言語化をしてまいります。と同時に例えばミャンマーからのお客様とかウズベキスタンからのお客様とかもうたくさんいらっしゃる。その言語一つ一つ対応することは不可能でございますので、これは解決してくれるのは IT だと思います。スマートフォンなどにこのアプリケーションをこの紹介をする、もしくはナビゲーションのアプリケーションが多言語で表示されるといったような形で、この言葉の問題をなくしていくということは可能だと思っております。しかし何よりも東京が魅力的なのはこうやって、人混みがあって、そしてそのごちゃごちゃしているところが逆に魅力だと思いますし、何よりもやっぱり世界中で一番おいしいお寿司が食べられるのは東京ではないかと思っています。シンガポールからもぜひ多くの皆さん東京にいらしていただきたいと思います。
Thank you very much for the question in regards to the barriers which are in place to preventing Japan or Tokyo from becoming the full global financial hub for which it is aiming to, and how to reinvigorate this. I believe that there are several factors related to this. The first, as you mentioned, the language barrier issue and the fact that Japanese is still the dominant language here in Tokyo. The second point is in regards to tax-related issues. Corporate tax here in Tokyo is relatively high, and also issues of inheritance tax where there are various reforms being put in place. However, it has been pointed out that they are perhaps not yet sufficient or not yet as much as would be needed. Also, in regards to the living environment here in Tokyo, we are at the moment, for example, undertaking some initiatives such as preparing more international schools in the areas of Toranomon or Yaesu in central Tokyo to provide these kinds of services. Also looking at how to provide more multilingual services in central hospitals in Tokyo is also an issue which we are now working on. So the issue of the Japanese language here in Tokyo is often pointed out. One of the other initiatives which we are undertaking in order to resolve this is looking at how to have signage available in more languages. However, of course, when we consider that many of the people who are coming to Tokyo are from countries such as, for example, Myanmar or Uzbekistan, of course, it would not be possible to provide signage in all of their languages, in the languages of each of the countries of the visitors who are coming to Tokyo. I believe that the tool which can be used to resolve this issue is information technology. For example, looking at how to introduce more smartphone applications which could provide navigation services in various languages, for example. This can be one way to resolve this language huge issue. However, I believe when we consider what the real charm of Tokyo is globally, it is the fact that, well, it is such a crowded and vibrant city together at once. And of course, it is also the home to the most delicious sushi that you can find anywhere in the world as well. So I hope that you can perhaps appeal or mention to many visitors from Singapore to encourage them to come here to Tokyo.
Ursula Hezi with International Newswire AFP, Agence France Presse. Thank you, Madam Governor. A question about the Olympics. Paris is set to become the next Olympic city after Tokyo, so maybe a short reaction from you on that. And what would be your advice, your first step to Paris and the successor city, if it's not Paris, but it's going to be Paris? And what experience have you drawn as the preparations in Tokyo are well underway? What things would you advise from that? And what is your also what have you learned from Rio? What we know now of the consequences of the Olympics in Rio, and how to contain costs and how to also make the city accessible to handicapped people. And Paris would have, I think, a problem with that. Thank you.
まず2024年に、パリでの開催が事実上決まったということで、パリの皆さん、フランスの皆さんにはおめでとうございますと申し上げたいと思います。そしてまた今、東京はまさしく準備の最中で、ありますけれども、2020年の大会に向けての準備の最中で、ありますが、新設会場の建設もこれから佳境に、入るところで、ございます。私が聞くところによると、パリは多くの会場はすでにある季節の会場をお使いになるということで、それは大変正しい判断だと思います。そしてそれによって経費を削減するということは、その終わった大会が終わった後の経費をかけないで済むという意味で、大変賢いワイズスペンディングになると思います。東京の場合、新しい会場を作ることといたしましたが、やはりそこはその新しい会場をその後どうやって使うかという、その2020年後の大会後のことまでしっかり考えなければいけない。それはリオやその他のいくつかのホストシティで見られているさまざまな例があるわけで、その例からいろんなケースから学んでいかなければならないと思っております。ですから東京としてもいくつか新しい大会会場を作りますけれども、それを例えばネーミングライツやまたコンセッション方式などによって運営を民間に任せるという形で、よりこの活用の仕方がワイズになるように工夫をするところであります。それからパリについてはちょうどクーベルタン男爵生誕100年にあたる年かと、2024年がそういう年、記念すべき年に開催をされるということは二重の喜びだろうと思います。パリが、今東京も準備をしていますけれども、やはり安全な都市であるということをしっかりと重ねていく、その努力は東京にとってもパリにとっても必要なことだろうと、このように考えております。
Thank you very much. First of all, in regards to the news that it has been largely decided or confirmed that the next Olympics after Tokyo, the 2024 Olympics, will be held in Paris, I would like to express my congratulations to the people of Paris and France for that point. Of course, here in Tokyo, we are in the midst of the preparations for the 2020 Games, and from now we will be entering a phase where the construction of the various new venues for the Olympics will also be speeding up from now. I have heard that in the case of Paris, many of the venues which will be used are actually already existing venues. I believe that this is a very correct judgment and something which will be useful in reducing the costs of holding the Olympics in the city, particularly in regards to the post-Olympics costs. By using venues which are already in existence, this will help to support the reduction of the costs for after the games are held. This is an example of the wise spending, which I mentioned. In the case of Tokyo, of course, we have the situation where many new venues are having to be or being built for the 2020 Olympics. Therefore, we now have the question requiring consideration of how to utilize these venues after the Games, post-2020. There are various examples from Rio de Janeiro or other host cities of the Olympics, and I believe that it is necessary for us to be learning from these various cases which are existing. In Tokyo's example, we are considering, in regards to the new venues to be constructed, how to work together with private management or operations for some of these venues to utilize them wisely. For example, looking at issues of naming rights or concessions in relation to how to utilize the venues as well. I believe that also the year 2024 in Paris will be the 100th anniversary of the birth of Coubertin as well. So I would like to express that this is indeed a double pleasure or honor for the city to be hosting in that particular year. And the other issue in regards to efforts which would be required to be made is, of course, the case both for Tokyo and for Paris, but to ensure that the host city can be a safe city for the time of the Olympics. This is also a key point. Thank you.
May I add? 障害を抱えた方々へのアクセシビリティの確保はとても重要なことだと思います。先ほど申し上げたように、私はパラリンピックを基本に、大会を成功させたいと考えている。それはやはり日本のそして東京のこれからの高齢化を考えると、ウィルチェアなどを使う人、杖をつく人などが増えることはもう明らかですので、パラリンピックの準備をするということは東京の高齢化に備えるという意味でもあります。パリの場合もぜひこのとても街がもう何世紀も完成して出来上がっているがゆえにですね、むしろ新しい部分を付け加えるのは難しい時もあろうかと思いますけれども、やはりこれから都市というのはエイジングしていくというのは共通、都市の高齢化ということはこれから先進国は真剣に考えなければならない、問題だと思っています。東京はその意味で障害のある人にも優しいまちづくりということをこのパラリンピック大会への準備を機会に整えていきたいと思っております。
And to add one further point in regards to this, and you mentioned about the issue of people with disabilities and accessibility for the city. As I mentioned during my initial remarks, I believe that the success of the Paralympics is really the key to the success of the overall games here. In the case of Tokyo and Japan, we of course do also have an aging society, and it is clear that there will be more and more people who will be requiring the use of wheelchairs or crutches and other supports and so on in the coming years as well. Therefore, looking at how to prepare for this aging society, which will be coming to Tokyo and Japan, is also a key aspect of the preparation for the Paralympics itself. I hope that this can also be the case for Paris. Of course, in the case of Paris as a city, it has already been created and present for many centuries already as a full and developed city. So it may be difficult to add new aspects in some regards to this. However, the challenge of the aging population or the aging of the cities themselves is, of course, a common challenge that all developed countries will be facing from now. And so this is also requiring serious thought and consideration. In the case of Tokyo, we take the Paralympics as an opportunity to prepare for these coming challenges and how to make the city fully accessible to people with disabilities or other special needs.
Richard, and Watanabe, and you. Short question.
Madam Governor, I believe last week you met
Your
our
name,
governor.
please.
Excuse me?
Your name?
Oh, sorry. My name is Richard Silva from Indonesia. Last week, I believe you met our governor from Jakarta. After that, I walked around at your office, Tokyo Tocho, and I found something very interesting and so very surprising. So very close to your office, there is a small street between Shinjuku Chuo-goen and the Kenketsu, the or Tomin Hall. There is a small road, and between this road and there is a bridge over there. There are a lot of youths of homeless over there, and I asked them. They are there not 1 to 3 months, but years ago. So how come it happens in this place very close to your office? And would you like to solve this problem? Thank you.
はい、新宿のホームレスの方は何人か大体決まった場所におられます。雨露をしのげて、そしてそこで、長きにわたっていらっしゃる方もおられるということで、あります。対策については東京都をはじめとする生活の支援などもしているところでありますけれども、こういった方々はその他の国とか比較すればかなり少ないとは思いますけれども、そのことはいらっしゃることは認識をしております。しっかりとした対策を取っていきたいと思います。
In the case of Shinjuku and homeless people living in that area, there are certain particular locations where homeless people tend to be residing. These are areas where they can, for example, shelter from the rain or weather conditions, and there are also some individuals who are living in these locations for a long-term period. In regards to the measures to support this, we are, of course, as the metropolitan government and in cooperation with various other parties working to support their living or livelihoods as well. However, I believe that while I do acknowledge the existence of such homeless people living in our city, if we were to compare with the number of such people in other countries or cities, for example, we would find that there are relatively fewer such people in Tokyo compared to internationally.
Thank you. Thank you, Cardon. Governor Koike.
Your name.
Haruko Watanabe, HKW Media Report. Congratulations, Governor Koike. I think majority of women and the men in Tokyo are very proud of you and very happy. But unfortunately, there's about 40 women plus their relatives are very unhappy because they like to remain in Tsukiji. They organize Tsukiji Okami-san-kai and fight and campaign against relocation from Tsukiji to Toyosu. And they said, if the people from all over the world come to Tsukiji for good sushi, they find nothing but chushajo. That makes them very unhappy. But the administration and management of Tsukiji group signed the contract already. But how can you or your government can persuade those Okami-san to move from Tsukiji to Toyosu happily? Thank you.
ありがとうございます。豊洲の移転ということをさまざまな環境調査を経た、そしてまたこれからの追加対策をした上で、豊洲への移転ということを決めたところでございます。そしてその後は駐車場、これは2020年の東京大会に約4000台近い車を置く場所として活用する。そしてまた選手村と市の東京の中心部を結ぶ道路を建築をするということで、まずは築地から豊洲へ移転していただくということで、ご協力を願っているところでございます。一度は移転を決めたわけでございまして、それを安全を確認するために時間はかかりましたけれども、しかし、今回移転をしていただくということでございます。イデオロギーの問題もあるかもしれませんけれども、多くの方々はやはり築地に愛着がある。 この築地への築地の持つレガシーをしっかりと生かしていくというのも、今後の再開発には必要なテーマだと思っています。築地が普通の街になっても誰も喜びません。普通のビル街になっても、普通のマンションになっても、これは築地が持つこれまでの歴史をこれをゼロにしてしまう。私はそれはもったいない話だと思っております。ですからまずそのためにも豊洲へ一旦お移りいただかなければ、今のネズミが走る、そしてその80年前の建物がこの残るという中において、中で工事を行うというのは物理的には難しいということでございますので、また新しい築地の歴史を築くためにもご協力をいただきたいとこう思っております。
Thank you for the question. In regards to the Toyosu relocation of the Tsukiji fish market, this is something which has been decided, and of course after going through several thorough environmental assessments and also some further measures to come from now. The current plan is for the location of the current Tsukiji market to be used for a car park, which will provide 4,000 parks to be used for vehicles coming to the 2020 Olympics. Further than this, it will also be used as a location to create a road which will connect the athletes' village to the central part of Tokyo. So these are two of the infrastructure aspects which are required for the development for the Olympics. For this reason, we are in the situation of asking for the cooperation of those people who are at Tsukiji now for this. The relocation was initially decided much earlier. However, of course, it did take some time to confirm the full safety of the new venue. However, this has been confirmed now, and the relocation will be going ahead. Of course, there are several ideological issues which are present in relation to this, particularly in the case of Tsukiji. Many people have a great or deep affection for Tsukiji as a place, and it is important, it will be vital to maintain the legacy of Tsukiji from now as well. Of course, if Tsukiji were to become just a normal place which was covered with normal buildings or normal apartments and so on, this is not something that anybody would be pleased about. This would not make anybody happy. It would be incredibly mottainai, or a real waste to make zero this history that the Tsukiji fish market has. However, first of all, we do need to ask those people from the fish market to relocate to Toyosu, considering the situation of the current building of the market, which is 80 years old and it also has issues with rats and so on. To construct there within this situation would physically not be feasible. Therefore, we are asking for the cooperation for the relocation in order to go through with this development.
日本語で失礼いたします。私はたまに脊髄損傷者のニュースにリポートを書いたりとか、あと映画などを撮ったり。
Your name, please.
My name is 山岡と申します。
Are you a journalist? Are you a journalist?
It's kind of. I'm writing an article for spinal cord injury newspaper.
Okay, sorry, we have to ask first our journalist.
最初の方はこちらの協会の会員の記者の方を先に聞かせていただきます。
We will give you after they finish.
お時間がありましたらその後でお願いいたします。
Sorry about that.
申し訳ございません。
Governor, my name is Daniel Hurst. I'm a freelance journalist currently writing for The Times. The 2020 Olympics and Paralympics will coincide, as you know, with the next governor election for Tokyo. Are you looking at ways to possibly slightly extend your term so that there's no clash there? And do you intend to run again for Tokyo governor? I know it's early. And while we're talking about 2020, that's the deadline that Prime Minister Abe has set for revising the constitution. Do you think that that's a good time frame to be looking at such a controversial issue? Thank you.
ありがとうございます。毎日都政のことが忙しくて、自分自身のことを考える暇がございません。Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you very much for your question. I'm very busy with the daily operations of running the metropolis of Tokyo. Therefore, I don't have any time to think about my personal issues. But thank you for your question.
Martin Kölling with the German financial daily Handelsblatt. You did something here in Tokyo that, on a regional scale, what President Macron, the French President Macron, did on a national scale. You won with a newly found party. What does this phenomena say about the political situation and the satisfaction or dissatisfaction of Japanese with the current political system, that you could basically do the same thing that President Macron did in France? And what will this say for the future of political parties in Japan?
はい、ちょうど私と重なるように、マクロンフランス大統領が当選をし、そして、彼自身が、経済担当大臣の際からずっと新しい政党を作っていたということは、私も知事になって、からも、フランスの状況というのもしばしば関心を持って見ておりました。私自身も知事選は政党の支援がない、そして、大変、多くのこのご支援を得て、都民の協力を得て、そして、知事になった。そして同時に希望の塾という、学ぶ一般の方々に学んでいただく、最も18歳から80歳までの塾生が集まりましたけれども、そういった塾の生徒、最初は6000人ほどが応募の意思を示されて、3000人から4000人の方々がその塾で学んでいただきました。うちその中から都議選に出たいという方々300人程度だったと思いますけれども、そこから選んだ41人が実際に今回の都議選に出て、そして全員が当選をしました。そしてその他議員の経験のある人たちを含めて現在55人の都民ファーストの会が議会の第一党を占めるようになりました。公明党と合わせますと127の議席の過半数を占めるという状況でございます。ちなみに自民党は第3党ということで、これから始まる議会はかなり景色が変わるものだと思っております。そして、マクロン氏も同様に政党を立ち上げて、総選挙で、6割ですかの議席を確保されたと聞いております。結果として非常に類似した点もあろうかと思います。でご質問はぜひ政治学者の方に分析をしていただきたいとは思いますが、既成政党に対しての不満、既成政党に任せているとですね、この新しい新しい道や改革が行われないのではないかということで、新しい組織政党に希望を託したということだと思います。ですからマクロン大統領も私もですね、そうやって新しい道を築いたということは大変、そして多くの方々の賛同をいただいているということは大変嬉しくもあり、また責任も重いというふうに思っております。ではなぜ既成政党では満足しないかというと、時代の流れが早いからだと思います。そして、今世界が激動をしと同時に生活もですね大変大きく変わっている、そういう中で、既成の政党がこれまでの延長線で議論ばかりをしていると、結局結論が出ない。ということが、各地で見られる。そのために新しい道を探そうという 有権者の合理的な判断だと思います。私は、新しい政党がまた次に出てくると、またそちらの方に目が移るということでは、時間のなんていうんでしょうか、時間とエネルギーをロスするだけでは無責任でありますので、しっかりと取り組んでいきたいと思っております。特に都議会の場合は日本の衆議院と違ってですね、タームが任期が決まっているということは、非常にロードマップを描いて着実に歩みを進めればいいので、そこはやりやすい部分があろうかと思っております。
Thank you very much for the question. As you mentioned as well, the election of Mr. Macron in France, and particularly looking at how he went to create a new political party from his time as finance minister as well, and you look at my own situation of becoming governor and then working to create this new political party from that time as well. This means that I was, of course, paying great attention and interest to the situation in France in relation to this. For myself, during the time of the gubernatorial election for Tokyo, I did not have the support of a particular political party at the time. However, it was the support of many of the citizens of Tokyo which enabled me to be elected into the post of governor. After this, I created what I called my juku, or my political learning center, shall we say, and people from the ages of 18 to 80 years actually all signed up to join and to learn within this center. At first, 6,000 people expressed their will to join and be part of this, and 3,000 to 4,000 people, I believe, actually participated in the sessions or seminars as part of the training under my juku. From these people, this was how we selected those people to stand in the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly elections. Around 300 people expressed their wish to stand as candidates, and from them 41 people were selected to stand as Tomin First candidates in the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly elections. Each one of these 41 people were all elected in the elections. And if we combine together with some other people who were already parliament members in the past, for example, we were able to have 55 people elected as Tomin First candidates to the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly. This means that we are now the largest party in the assembly. If we combine this together with Komeito, our partners in this, this becomes 127 seats in the Metropolitan Assembly, so a majority of the seats. And the LDP actually is in the third position in regards to the number of seats. The Assembly will be starting to meet soon, and I believe that this can, or we can really expect to see a completely different scenery or nature of the Assembly meetings once it becomes in session again. Therefore, if we look at these aspects, I think that it can be said that there are various similarities to my situation or my party and Mr. Macron and his efforts. I believe he achieved around 60% of the votes in the general election with his new party as well. So there are these similarities in place. However, in regards to your question about how to analyze this, I hope that you could perhaps refer to political scientists in regards to how they may analyze this situation. If we were to look at the issue of dissatisfaction with the existing political parties, however, I believe that there is a great feeling amongst many people that if things are only left up to these traditional or already existing political parties, there would not be efforts taken to go down a new path or undertake the reform which is necessary or which many people feel is necessary. And it is for this reason that I believe many citizens or many people place their hope in new political parties. I believe that both Mr. Macron and myself are looking at how to open up new paths for political reform, and this is something which many people are very supportive of. This is something which is, of course, very pleasing, but also comes with a great responsibility. So if we consider why people are not satisfied with these existing political parties, I believe that this is in relation to the fact that time is moving very fast now. The world is changing very rapidly, and people's lives are also changing very rapidly in this respect. However, many existing or traditional political parties may continue their debates based on how things always have been, or just continuing with the status quo which they have always been going with and not coming to any new conclusions. This is evident in many different places around the world, I believe, and this is why many people are looking looking very logically, I believe, for new solutions for this. For me, I believe that, well, if a new political party were to come forward, it may mean that many people may turn their eyes towards this as well. However, this would be a great shame in regards to the time and energy, so I hope to do all that I can to ensure that this is not put to waste, that this is fully implemented from now as well. One other point in regards to the Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly, which is different, for example, to the Japanese House of Representatives, is that the term is set, is confirmed. This means it is much easier to put in place a roadmap and implement things in a more certain way. Thank you.
Financial Times, last question.
Peter Wells from the Financial Times. Governor Koike, I'm just wondering if you could just talk about what concrete steps you will take to address tax and regulation in order to help Tokyo become a financial hub. Thanks.
金融に必要なことは人、物、金、情報だと思います。人については今申し上げましたように、世界のさまざまな高度な人材、東京に集まってくださる、そういう生活環境を整えつつあります。税について言うならば、これは非常に国との連携が必要であります。今ヨーロッパでもそれこそマクロン大統領はフランスの法人税を 25% に、そしてまたトランプ大統領はキャンペーン中に20% とか 15% とか国境税とかいろんな言葉が飛び交っていて、これから一体どうなることなのかずっと興味を強く関心を持っていきたいと思います。東京の場合は世界と比べるとすでにまだ公立でございます。私は東京の場合、東京の財政は法人税に頼るところが非常に大きいわけでございまして、税を急に減ずるということはなかなか難しいところがございますが、政策的な減税でもって、この政策、例えば ESG 投資などを含めてですね、そういったことに対しての対応を都として行うということは考えられる一案だと思います。ただ、国税についてはなかなか簡単ではない、ここが大変岩盤のようなところがありますので、今後これからの新しい政権になって、あんまり重要な閣僚の部分はそのままでありますけれども、そういったところがどのような判断を下していくのか、東京都としての呼びかけをさせていただきたいと思っております。レギュレーションについてはですね、新しくフィンテックなどの企業が日本に来られて、さまざまな登録をするための届け出をするための書類が日本語で、それも何枚もいろんな種類があるというのは、これは来るなと言っているようなものなので、ワンストップで、そしてスタートアップがすぐにできるというようなそのようなセンターを作って、これは単に海外の方のみならず日本の方にとっても必要なことだと思いますけれども、ワンストップサービスで日本での開業が可能になるというそのような施設をセンターを設けているところであります。このようなスタートアップのための非常に複雑なレギュレーションをシンプルにするということは、単に国際金融のみならず他の産業にとりましても有効な手段ではないかと思っています。
In regards to what is needed for Tokyo to become the global financial hub which is desired, I believe that what is necessary for that are people, things, money, and information. First of all, in regards to the people or the human resources who would be necessary for that, as I mentioned, we were looking at how to make improvements to the environment or the situation in Tokyo to encourage human resources or people from around the world to come to Tokyo as a place to work. In regards to the issue of tax, of course, this is a field where cooperation with the national government or the central government would be required. There are various examples around the world of discussions on corporate tax at the moment. For example, President Macron, who we were discussing, has been talking about 25% for France. President Trump in the United States, of course, during his campaign period, mentioned many different figures, 20%, 15%, and so on. There were different figures, different numbers flying around, and what decision will actually be made in regards to this is yet to be seen, but I am paying particular interest to what will happen in the United States. In regards to Tokyo, we are still having a situation where globally the tax rate is still relatively high. However, the Tokyo city as a metropolis or the metropolitan government is also still quite heavily dependent on this corporate tax as well. So a sudden decrease in this, a sudden reduction would be rather difficult. Instead, as Tokyo, we are looking at what kind of policy measures can be put into place which can contribute to this, looking at, for example, ESG investment or things which can be done as the city as policies for now. On the national level, tax issues are, of course, not so simple. The national tax policy is quite, well, firm, shall we say, at the moment. We do have a new cabinet coming in, and with this new administration, while many of the key positions are remaining the same, what decisions they may make in regards to this issue will be seen from now as well. And as Tokyo, we will be making various appeals and suggestions to the national government as well. In regards to the regulations, also looking at, for example, how to encourage fintech companies to be coming to Tokyo. One of the issues in place at the moment is the papers required for such registration are, of course, all in the Japanese language, and there are many different kinds of these papers or registration documents and so on which are necessary. This is almost giving the message of telling people, well, not to come because this is made so difficult. It is for this reason that we have established the one-stop center, which I mentioned, which can be a place where people can fulfill these different procedures in one stop, one location, and also start up in a much faster way than has been possible before. This is, of course, not something necessary only for international companies, but also for Japanese people, or Japanese companies as well. So the creation of this one-stop center is one of the measures for this. But the issue of how to continue to simplify the currently very complicated regulations is something which is of importance for the global financial industry, but also for other industries as well.
Thank you very much, Governor Koike, for generously giving us 8 minutes extra time. I would like to extend to you 1-year honorary membership to our club. Please come again and tell us more about Tokyo Olympics. Thank you. Please remain seated until Governor Koike leaves the club. Thank you for coming today. Have a nice evening.